To quote Paris Paloma, heaven is a fat girl. So today we will be talking about eating as a form of resistance. Let's get into it. Warning, listening to us
might radicalize you.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Unholy Feminists with me, Kath, and Gail. Hi Gail.
Hi Kat, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. I'm not gonna complain this time because this feels like a broken record. How are you?
Same. I will sound like a broken record, so no complaining today.
Let's just say I am happy today that we did not wake up to a nuclear war. Let's just say that.
Yes.
The bar
yes.
is low. The bar is low right now.
It's in hell, literally.
Yeah. Yep, it's in hell. All right, I don't want to take up too much time chit-chatting this time because this topic is something that I am sure will resonate with a lot of women because it's tied to eating, it's tied to beauty standard, it's tied to our weight as well. And I know that for a lot of women, okay, so I'm just going to give a little context to this. I remember seeing this video where this person went on the street and she interviewed some women on the street, asking them, do you remember the first time that anyone has made a comment on your body? And when she was asking women, they all knew when it was. Like, they could pinpoint exactly what age it was. Some women were like, when I was 6, my dad was the one who told me that. When I was 5, when my mom was the one who told me that I should eat less or that I was fat. But then when they asked men, they did not know when. They're like, I'm not sure, last Tuesday maybe. So it feels like there's such a disconnect between men and women and how we exist in our bodies that I think that this is something worth talking to. And just like how we talk about rest is a form of resistance, I also think that eating is also a form of resistance as well. So my first question to you is, do you remember the first time you've been made conscious about your body?
I think so. But I think mine is the opposite because I've always had a weird relationship with food because I remember growing up, if any, I don't know if the culture is different in at your end, but like on my end, growing up in an African home, if you're a child who doesn't eat, there are literally times you'll be beaten so that you eat. So I was that kind of child where food was not something I always went to look for. Like I had to be forced to eat. I always needed an incentive to eat. So that's how I grew up. So I was very skinny as a child. So I did get those comments about I should eat more, and I'm too small, and I'm too that. And then I remember when I started high school, I was 13, 14. So high school, first semester, it was a boarding school. I went back home and I was like this big ball. Literally, I look like a ball. And the oh, you're too big, you need to eat less comments started. So yeah, I think I've been on both ends because as young as, yeah, like 5, 6, I was being told I wasn't eating enough and I'm too skinny. And then 13, 14, when puberty hits, I gained massive weight. And then I started getting the you should eat less comments. What about you?
So I think that this is probably something that a lot of people can relate to your experience because my experience was the same way. When I was young, I didn't eat a lot. So, I mean, I wasn't beaten, but I remember that my mom was constantly telling me to eat more to the point where I was very skinny as a child. And I think one of the first comments that I ever got about my body was from my dad. When I was very, very young, about 4 or 5 years old, I was very skinny So he told my mom that I looked like a tree frog because I was so skinny. And that's what he said to my mom. And then he blamed her. He was like, I don't know how you're raising your child because she's so skinny. She's like a tree frog. So as you can see, this is something that kind of scars you even as an adult because I can still
Yeah, I'm so
remember the
sorry.
way that he said it. That's okay. But it's made such an impression on you at a very young age that I can still hear his voice and how he said it when I was a child. So I was always conscious about my body. I always felt like, oh, I was too skinny. I was constantly told that, oh, you're too thin, you're too skinny, you're like a stick figure, you need to eat more. But then once you grow out of that stage, because for some reason people think that children should be chubby and that they're adorable that way, right? But then the moment that you grow up to be a woman, then you need to be thin. Like constantly, you're never good enough, right? You always have to be something. And then I remember when I became older, when I grew up into adulthood, I was about 45 kilograms, pretty consistent, 44, 45. But then I went on birth control, on oral contraceptive method, and I started taking the pills and I gained weight. So it was pretty rapid. I think I gained about 5 kilograms in 2 months ish. And it was noticeable to many people for some reason. People started commenting on my weight, saying that, oh, you're so big, your face looks like the moon, you need to eat less. And I remember I remember when I was working at the time, my first professional job, we were having lunch and then I said to one of my colleagues like, "Hey, I'm so hungry, let's go eat lunch." And another colleague who was my producer, he said, "Hey, can you watch out for her and make sure she doesn't eat a lot because look at her now." So I know. So I've had all sorts of comments about my body from being too thin to being too much to eating too little to eating a lot. It's like you're constantly being controlled, you know? Yeah.
It also makes you realize how, beauty standards are also culturally constructed, because in my setting 50 kg is not, it's not something you'll be shamed for. 50 kg is 50 kg, you'll probably be told to eat more. Literally, you'll be told to eat more, because I think fat phobia is a thing in Africa. However, people are more receptive of like a certain weight. So I currently weigh about 70 kg, and I mean, no one is telling me I look fat or anything like that. So to hear your 50 kg and they were telling you should watch what you eat, I'm like, oh my god, I will not survive in Asia.
I think an element of race and of sexualization of women based on race is involved as well because Asian women, the beauty standard for Asian women is that we need to be petite, we need to be thin, we need to be
Yeah.
willowy, we need to
Yeah.
almost be invisible, we need to be submissive and so cute that we can be lifted with one hand, you know, that kind of beauty standard. But then for black women, you have this idea of like sexualized, voluptuous black
Yeah.
women, Jezebel
Yes.
kind of image. So both are terrible. Yeah.
It's true. It's true. Because I remember about 3 years ago, I lost a lot of weight. I became slim. I was slim. And my mother would literally call me and, crying, because she, like, what's wrong with me? Am I going through something? Why have I lost so much weight? Literally, and everyone was commenting on my weight, like, I look better when I have weight. I shouldn't lose so much weight, and there's no winning as a woman.
There is no
Honestly,
winning. Yep.
there isn't.
There is no winning.
Yeah.
I as someone who cannot tell when someone is gaining or losing weight unless it's significant, it baffles me because when I look at people, I can't really tell. It's like that part of my brain did not develop because when I look at someone, I can't tell if they've gained or lost weight. I genuinely can't tell unless they've gained like 20 kilograms, and yeah, it's
Yeah.
obvious. But it really baffles me how some people are so sensitive to that even when I gained 2 kilograms, I went to meet ex-colleagues that I didn't meet for like a few months. They clocked it immediately. Like they clocked it and I was like, did I gain weight? And I went on the scale and I was like, I gained 2 kilograms. How did you even know? How are you so attuned to this that this is like the first thing that you see? You know?
It's terrible, honestly. They're the weight police.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's even worse because a lot of the times it comes from women.
Yeah, like 80% of the time.
Yeah. In Asian culture, it's very common for people to comment on your weight. It's usually one of the first things that people comment on when they meet you, especially if they haven't seen you for a very long time. Every time I meet someone, it's always like, oh, you're still the same weight, or oh, you gained a little bit of weight, oh, you lost weight. Like, it's one of the first things that they would talk about, and it really annoys me so much because there's so many things that you can talk about. Why
Yeah.
is my weight the first thing on your mind?
That's actually the same in Ghana as well. If you've not seen someone in a long time, be rest assured that they'll comment on your weight. Especially if they are an older woman, they will comment on
Yep.
your weight. Yeah. It's non-negotiable.
Exactly. And they masquerade it as them caring about you, like, oh, I just care
Yeah.
about you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, um, piggybacking on that, my next question is, do you think those comments have had any effect on your eating habits growing up and even now?
I don't I don't think so. Maybe I've not really unpacked it or anything, but I don't think I've changed much from how I used to be as a child because I'm the kind of person who I barely think about food. Like I literally forget to eat sometimes. I have to be shaking and I have a headache and like and sometimes when I'm exhibiting all those symptoms, maybe I'll text one of my friends and be like, I have such a terrible headache. I don't know what's going on. And then because they know me, someone will ask, have you eaten? Then I'll remember that, oh, I've not eaten. So I think my relationship with food has always been the same way. I don't really focus on what I'm eating is going to get me to either lose weight or gain a lot of weight. I've never really been focused on that. Except when I'm going to the gym. So when I'm going to the gym, I'm working towards a goal. So obviously, but there's a running joke with me and my best friend where we say that if I'm working out, I'm going to watch what I eat so that I can meet the goal I have in mind. However, I'm never going to get to the point where I'm counting my calories. I'm counting like the protein I'm eating. If I'm full, I'm full. I can't do it anymore. Like whatever is going to happen should happen. So yeah, I don't think I've not really changed from my eating habits as a child. What about you?
I do feel like I have I wouldn't say a bad relationship with food, although I can see myself easily falling into having a bad relationship with food. I think especially during the period of time when I was receiving all those fat shaming comments when I was on birth control, I eventually went off it and I lost all the weight. But I feel like because I grew up consuming a lot of pop culture during the heroin chic era, right? And then watching America's Next Top Model, seeing all these women, these normal sized women being called fat. I feel like I could have easily fallen into the whole eating disorder
Yeah.
rabbit hole because I could see how that somehow creates a negative image on like negative body image for yourself,
Mm,
because you see that and then you look into the mirror and you start to think, am I fat too because I look like that, even though
like
they look
that.
perfectly normal, right? Yeah, exactly. So there have been times, even now still, when I eat a lot and then the first, like, there's this one nagging, like, just a small voice saying, oh, maybe you shouldn't have that extra thing. Although it's very quiet, it's very subtle, and it's easily dismissible, but it's like,
Mm,
it is that moment, that unguarded moment, right? It's a remnant of the things in the past that you have unpacked and you have unlearned, but you know how
yeah,
it's a guilty thought, right? And it happens,
yeah.
and then consciously you try to talk yourself, you
Mm,
try to reason with yourself that that is not okay, that you can still eat whatever you want, because ultimately the patriarchy wants us to starve.
that's they do. That's they do. I think that fuses into your next question on
Yeah. So
why.
why does the patriarchy want us to starve, Gail?
Pedophilia. Pedophilia. I like off the top of my head. That's like the first thing I think of. That women. You see the ritual that people attack plus size women with on social media and even in real life, because they want women as a woman, okay, to be feminine, you have to be petite. A man has to be able to easily lift you. You don't have to, it's men who do the hard labor. So it's men who get to eat big portions of food. And it can
Mm-hmm.
even be traced back to like in homes where mothers always serve the fathers first, then they serve their children
Mm-hmm.
before they serve themselves. So you get the leftovers. You get whatever is supposed to be okay for you, because keep your figure. You need to keep your figure to keep your man at home. Because if you don't keep your figure, especially if you're a certain age, if you're not keeping your figure, then you are pushing your man to step out on you. Because to be feminine as a woman is to be small, is to be a certain shape, is to be like this size that the ones they see in children basically, and they want grown women to replicate. Like, you just want a
Mm-hmm.
child, you're a pedophile. Why are you holding me to childlike standards as a 30-year-old woman, even as a 20, even as an 18-year-old girl? Why are you holding her to standards of a 5 and 6-year-old? Why do you need a woman to look that way if you don't have a relationship, a bad relationship with seeing of sexualizing childlike features? So that's one thing that comes to mind. What about you? Why do you think they want us to starve?
I think that was perfectly said. Definitely pedophilia, especially with everything that we've seen with the Epstein files, and how a lot of our media, a lot of our thoughts, and a lot of our thinkings and structures in society are shaped by pedophiles,
Mm-hmm.
pedophile billionaires, essentially. I also think so. Okay, I'm gonna give you an example, and I'm gonna explain the rationale behind it. I have a friend who is a medical professional. She works at a hospital, and she said that the women at the hospital that she works at, who are doctors, medical professionals as well, one of them was so into fasting and was watching her eating habits. Was She had a bad relationship with food, essentially, to the point where she wouldn't even accept a cookie. Like, she was fasting and she just wanted to be slim, to the point where there was this one occasion where she passed out because she was so hungry. And bear in mind that this woman is a medical professional who
Yeah,
should have known better,
better.
right? So what does that tell us? When a woman uses her time to count calories, to look at food, to think, oh, I shouldn't eat that. And then spend hours of her days trying to meal prep, trying to watch a figure, or buying some tea that will give you diarrhea. What does that take away from her time? It stopped her from thinking about resistance. It stopped her from criticizing the system. It stopped her from thinking about patriarchy because right now her focus is zeroed in on being a certain weight. She's constantly just thinking about food. Either she's starving or she's rejecting food. And you know, when you're starving, your body is not at full capacity, right? All you can
Yeah.
think about is food and you feel kind of fainty. You're not going to think about resisting the patriarchy. You're not going to think about the system. You're not going to think about revolution if you're starving and you're passing out. So that's how they're keeping us in line by having us focus on food and not eating it and being so starving and being so famished that we don't even have the energy to do anything. So how can you fight anything if you can just be knocked down by a gust of wind?
That's a good question. We can't. And I mean
Yeah.
that's exactly what they want. And unfortunately they are getting it. Cause I think there's skinny talk, right? There's
Yeah.
skinny talk. Fortunately I've never been there and I hope never to be there because I it probably won't affect me because even though I am picky with food, I love food. I've always loved food, so I don't think that's going to change anytime. But when I see women doing that, I'm like, ugh, babe, can you just exist? Can you just exist?
And not only that, but men are held to a completely different standard than women because here in Cambodia, when men have a pot belly, they would be seen as privileged and as rich. Like, oh, you're
Yes.
so rich that you can afford to eat and you have a pot belly, but a woman would never be afforded that kind of privilege, that kind of grace.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So it's similar here, just that it's also classed. So in Ghana,
Mm-hmm.
okay, if they see an older, well-to-do man with a pot belly, like yay. But if it's a broke man with a pot belly, thumbs
Mm.
down. Because where are you even get money to eat that much? If you know
Mm-hmm.
you are broke, and then they so I know it's bad, okay. But like one thing I really like about Ghanaian women is that we body shame men. Like we fucking body shame men. So as much as the men body shame us, we body shame men. Like you will hear a woman insulting a man about the way his body looks. You will hear it. So I so love that for us. So there's they call men out a lot. However, when it's someone with money, then people tend to overlook that. Oh, you know, they are this, they are that, and then yeah. So it happens here too. Just that it's class.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I do see an element of that as well.
Yeah.
And also, one of the things that causes a pot belly is excessive alcohol consumption, especially beer, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's also that as
Yeah.
well.
That's true. And even late eating and the types of food
Hmm.
you eat. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And unfortunately, I do feel like the whole heroin chic era is coming back because it feels like everyone and their mother in Hollywood is using Ozempic. Like, why is everyone so skinny now?
Skinny now,
Everyone's,
yeah.
yeah, it's
BBLs have
crazy.
phasing out. BBLs have
Mm-hmm.
phasing out. You know, I mean, some of the celebrities have even gone to take their BBLs out. So BBLs are obviously phasing out for some people. For like for the 1%, it's phasing out. They want to be skinny. They want to be dainty. They want to be feminine. They are leaning into their divine femininity.
And I think that that is no coincidence because right now,
Mm,
politically, we're moving to the right. And because we're moving to the right, we see a rise in skinny culture, we see a rise in trad
yeah,
wife. All of
culture,
them,
yeah.
they are connected. It's not a coincidence that everything is coming together this way because right
Mm-hmm.
now politically we're moving to the right, we're becoming more conservative, so women also have to adhere to a certain aesthetic. And when women are starving, we're not going to try to resist the conservatism, we're going to fall in line, and that's what they're trying to make us do, which is
Do
why eating is a form of resistance.
that's true. You said it perfectly. I totally agree with you.
So last point is, what can we do about it?
Eat. Eat. Oh my god. Food is so nice because imagine having cravings and then you don't want to satisfy these cravings because you want to fit into a size 4 pants. Babe, please, let's not do that. I also know that this conversation just it goes beyond just like culture, and it can be medical. I know some people have a medical condition, so it's not as, it's not as easy as just eating. But if you can, if it's available, like there are people starving. There are literally people starving, and you have food, and you are making a conscious effort that you want to look a certain way. Why do you even want to look this small if not for a man? Why is that?
Yeah.
It's different if you are losing weight for health reasons. That's I mean that's a whole other conversation. That's different. But if you are losing weight to fit into the beauty standards, I promise you, probably 5 or 10 years from now, tech will be back in vogue. Tech will be back in culture, and then what? You start binging on food again. It never works. You cannot please society. You cannot please men. You can never actually really really fit into the beauty standards because they will always find something that you do not have. So please resist the need to starve yourself, resist the need to fit into the size 6 dress, and please eat a lot of donuts, go have cake, get ice cream, drink the coffee. Oh, please eat.
I do think that the one nefarious thing about this topic, about fat shaming, about controlling women's weight, is that it's not just for the male gaze, right? The terrible thing is
Yeah.
that women are very, very complicit in this too. So sometimes, I mean, I'm not the first one to defend men on anything, but I think that when it comes to controlling your weight, some women not only do it for the male gaze for men, but they do it for women as well because women can be so
True.
terrible at
But
commenting on other women's weight. Like, why are we doing this? Why are we carrying water for the patriarchy by putting down our sisters like that? You know?
internalized misogyny.
Exactly. So I think to be able to eat what you want to eat is a privilege because
Yeah.
when you get older, you're not going to be able to eat everything that you want because of age, because of health issues, and for like you said, some people because of health reasons, they cannot eat whatever they want to eat because maybe their digestive system is too sensitive to handle that. So if you have the privilege and you're lucky enough to be able to eat what you want to eat it.
Eat.
Don't let the patriarchy, don't let society tell you that you need to count your calories, that you can only eat a certain amount without feeling guilty. Don't ever feel guilty for fulfilling one of the pleasures in life, which is eating, right? Sustaining
Eating.
ourselves. You don't see animals out there in the wild trying to go on a diet because that's just not how things are supposed to be. But with that being said, I also am not advocating for us to only eat junk food. We should also have a
Yeah, no.
balanced diet.
Balanced
Yeah.
diet.
Yeah. So have a balanced diet, but at the end of the day, if you're healthy, if you exercise, if you are, just have a piece of cake. That's the one thing that I discovered as an adult. That's an adult and having free will is that you don't have to wait until it's your birthday or someone else's birthday. Sometimes I just go to a bakery and I get a cake. I get a whole cake for myself. There's no one stopping you from that. And just buy a whole cake and eat it.
Eat
So,
it.
yeah. Yeah, free will. And you know what? If there's a nuclear holocaust and you're gonna need a lot of that fat and muscle to survive the nuclear holocaust, if you want to survive it, that is.
That's true. Please eat. Oh,
And to all the other women, please don't shame women for eating or for looking a certain way. Don't let some arbitrary number on a scale be like this ideal number that you have to be. And don't even,
yeah.
I hate it when people are like, well, but if you look at the BMI is bullshit, okay? It was created based on a man, based on a man of certain height. BMIs are not universal, so don't quote
Yeah.
BMI and say, yeah, but you need to be of a certain weight to be considered healthy because BMI. Just stop it. Just shut up. Yep.
Yeah. You just need to have healthy habits, and being extremist when you're having healthy habits is also unhealthy. So as someone who goes to the gym, one thing I actually have decided never to do is check my weight on the scale. I don't. So I measure my progress in my clothes, in how my clothes fit. But I do not stand on the scale and do, last week I was this and this week I'm that. No. We are not doing that because I genuinely do not care how much I weigh. I'm only going to the gym so that I can fit in my clothes a certain way, because I have clothes there that I don't fit in and I want to fit in them. Literally, that's it. I'm not getting on the scale for anything. I only get on the scale if I'm going for a medical checkup and they need my weight or something. Like that's literally all. But I'm not using the scale in the gym. It's not my portion. Yeah, no.
I think that's actually a wonderful idea. Just don't step on a scale if you don't need to. It's not going to help you. It's just going to make you feel bad. So don't even,
Yeah.
yeah. Why do we need to know how much we weigh anyway? I mean, our weight fluctuates all the time, you know? So it's
And as
okay.
a woman, your cycle even can determine your weight. So why
Yeah.
are you going to all these lengths? Like, let's not do that. Let's try to find a little bit more love for the bodies that we are existing in, and for what our bodies do for us. We need to find more love. I sound so hypocritical because I have body dysmorphia, so
But
I'm
you
saying
also
all
have
these
a
things.
beautiful body.
Thank you.
But yeah, do you have any final last words before we wrap it up?
Just reiterating that eat. And I'm sorry, like, eating doesn't mean, sit in one place and eat a full cake and then you don't move or anything. I mean, if you are going to do that once in a while, fine. But let's not be doing that every day, because that's also not healthy. Like we already shared. Eat, yes, but don't just eat junk food. You need to have a balanced diet. Just don't be counting that, oh, I have these grains of rice on my plate and I have these grains of, whatever. It's not. Just make sure you're satisfied and it's a balanced diet and you're good. But please eat, and whatever you weigh, you are still amazing. It does not take anything away from you as long as you feel good about yourself. Don't give a fuck about what other people think, okay?
You know what? Instead of measuring our value and our worth and how much we weigh, how about we measure our value and our worth and how many men we can make cry?
I love that. I love that.
All right. So, last words from me is don't let the patriarchy win. Eat as a form of resistance. And thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed this episode. If you do, don't forget to leave us a like, rating, review, all that kind of good stuff. And you can find us on all social media at Unholy Feminists. And we will see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.